Hello everybody and welcome to another one of our training videos. In our videos we've been looking at different aspects of leadership. So how to be a good leader, how to be a great leader, how to be a more effective leader. What are some of the leadership traits and qualities and skills that you need to excel and improve? Depending on your views on where leadership is, I'd love you to feel free to comment, to like, to share and subscribe to the videos, and then you'll know more about the other videos coming out as and when they appear. Today we're going to talk about a topic which I think is, on the one hand, interesting and fascinating, but also because it is probably one of the most debated and discussed questions with regard to leadership. Although some people feel it's futile, there's no point having the discussion. But the question is, and we're going to explore this, are leaders born or are leaders made? That's the fundamental question, born or made. Because you see, in research that's been done, the consensus, depending on which one you look at, says that 1/3 of those interviewed, or as the panel believe, 1/3 believe that leaders are born, and 2/3 believe that leaders are made. So think about that for a minute and let's come back to it. My name is Igwe. I have over 35 years experience of creating, leading and developing teams across the 5 different countries I've worked, and also through Europe, Middle East and Africa. So I love everything leadership and developing and growing teams. This particular topic of are leaders born or made, some may just say it's an academic thing, and we'll come back to that in a minute. But I think you have to think also that in certain cultures, because we're looking at this globally, in certain cultures, one may argue that you are born into leadership. If I take myself, for example, born and raised in a Nigerian family. In Nigeria, the first boy is the leader. It's considered the leader. Obviously the father is there, but whatever the circumstances, as one grows, leadership falls to the eldest son. So my sister, although older, is not the leader, no matter how strong or capable she might have been. That's our perception. In many other cultures as well, in Africa, in Asia, it's the same sort of thing, generally speaking. So you have to consider that. But just by being the firstborn does not automatically mean that A, I'm a leader, let alone a good leader, or indeed an outstanding one. Equally, research has not shown in a transparent, clear way that there is any genetic disposition to being a leader. So I couldn't say that because my father was a great leader that I would be a great leader, and we know that that is really not the case in many circumstances. But the whole subject of leadership, I think, to set the foundation, as it were, is a quote from Emmitt Smith. And Emmitt Smith was a Dallas Cowboy running back, 3-time Super Bowl champion winner. And he said this. He said, basically, every man was created equal. Some just train harder in the preseason. So we are all created equal. We just have to train harder in the preseason. And what that really says is, and I think it's important to remember, leadership or being a leader, just like many other things in life, is hard work. Even if it drops on you, even if you were born into it, you still have to work hard to improve your leadership skills and knowledge. So with that background, let's delve into a couple of things. So if you take the idea that you were born to lead, okay, let's focus on that. I'm going to ask you a few questions for you to answer in your own time, but if you want to share, that's great. So I'm born to lead. Okay, great. So what happens when you make mistakes? And mistakes you will make, because we all do. What about knowing whether you're on the right track or not? Am I on the right track? Am I doing the right things? Am I in the right place? How do you know whether you're growing fast enough or if you're growing at all? The beginning of the questions. If you say I'm born to lead and I have this innate habit in me to know where my compass is as far as leadership is concerned. Asking yourself, what are the skills and abilities that I need to have as a leader, which you may or may not have today. But remember, it's a journey of leadership. What about your performance measurement? How do you measure yourself? Against whom, if you believe that you were born to lead? And perhaps most importantly, how can you tell if you are a good, let alone outstanding leader, if your benchmark is your birthright, your hereditary nature, that you are a natural born leader? I want to dwell on this one for a minute, because on the one hand, you have to bear in mind that by me telling you or sharing with you my thoughts on leadership does not mean I'm necessarily right 100%. Equally, it definitely does not mean that I'm wrong, because my history and experience demonstrates that I have some credibility and knowledge around leadership. But at the same time, one thing that does happen is, and you'll see this, those of you who are leaders, when you are reviewing, doing your annual review with your teams, on that last question of whether you are good or outstanding, 95% of the time, the individual in front of you, and I can honestly say, even with my bosses, I've done this as well, you overestimate or over-evaluate your performance. May not be in terms of numbers, because numbers are numbers. You either make it or you don't. But in other areas, did I lead my team properly? Did I develop this person? Did I improve that area of business? And so it goes on. So you can kid yourself, if you like, into saying, I'm pretty good. In fact, I'm amazing at what I do. But the reality is, it's not always the case. So we overestimate ourselves. So if you say that you're born to lead, you have to be able to address all those areas. So my argument, first of all, is I believe, I'm not taking the middle ground, but I believe that there is an inherent, innate ability of individuals to lead, but at the same time, their leadership skills and knowledge improves as a result of the hard work they put in and the things that they discover on their journey. And therefore, I'm putting it to you that whether you're born to lead or you're made as a leader, here are some of the things that you need to put into your toolkit to help you to improve. You need to look at what your options and your resources are for the future. You need to have a methodical, systematic process to improving your leadership skill and knowledge. That process needs to be personalized. As I said earlier, just because I tell you this is what leadership is about does not mean that that's your path. You have to look at personality, ability, skill set, whether you're an introvert, an extrovert, whether you are somebody who has a short-term or long-term strategy, how fast you want to go, maybe your family circumstances, lots of different things. So it needs to be personalized to suit you. You need to consider coaching. I've spoken about that before in previous videos. You need to have a mentorship program. You need to have a mentor, someone who's done that, been there, and is performing at the very highest of levels. You need to attend conferences, whether they're your own, in the sense that you pay for them yourself, or whether your company sends you. But you need to go to conferences so you see what the leadership is in your field to be able to perform at the same levels. What do he or she have in terms of skill set? And you discover that at conferences, as well as, of course, conferences where you actually learn, which could come through training programs. So something which HR should put together, but even if HR doesn't do it, you need to set your own plan. I've always set my own path in terms of personal development, growth, but you need to look at training sessions. It could be online, it could be physical, so digital or physical, but trainings, do them on your own. And of course, what are the books that you can be reading? Books specifically around leadership and all that that entails. So my argument to you is, whether you're on the leaders are born side of the fence or leaders are made, it's an academic conversation, an academic discussion. Certainly have a point of view about it, no problem with that. But whatever you believe, maybe you were born as a leader, and indeed you are a natural leader, but to be able to benchmark yourself against other leaders and against the things I mentioned, whether you're making mistakes, or whether you're growing as fast as you should. All those things have to be measured, because you see, leadership is all about measuring yourself and monitoring your growth, seeing where your weaknesses are and where your strengths are, improving in different areas so you become an even more amazing and outstanding leader. So I hope that this has resonated with you. If you have thoughts, comments, please feel free to share them. I'd love to hear your feedback. Otherwise, look forward to seeing you very near future, and ask you to subscribe to the channel as well, so you know when the new videos are coming up. But yeah, whether you're born or made, it's interesting as a conversation, but the more important part is to grow. And that's what I seek to do through these training videos. Share little touch points where you can look at and say, okay, I need to improve here or there, or I'm doing pretty good there, but not so good there. Thank you for being here. I'll speak to you soon.